Tommy, welcome back.
Man, it's good to be back. Good pay-per-view here.
Good pay-per-view, man.
Yeah.
You ready for another post show?
I am, man, but I think the best way to start our post shows, I think we got to hit it with a little bit of music.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Aftermath Post Show presented to you by the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. Tommy, welcome back.
Man, it's good to be back. It seems like it's always been a little bit of a wait, every week that we go through. But got a good pay-per-view tonight. We skipped an episode this week, but here we are, man. NXT Takeover in your house. It's good to be back, dude.
We got a little bit to talk about, but
yeah.
How are your Tampa Bay Rays doing, by the way?
I've been waiting for you to ask that. Every week it seems like, I'm like, oh, they'll finally catch the bug and start losing. But 23-5 since, it seems like forever. They just don't lose. I know they're keeping in a good run with Boston, but Boston's kind of slipping. I think the lead is like, I want to say 3 now for Tampa, but they play the other best team in the AL, the White Sox, starting tomorrow. So it should be a really, really good series. Tampa Bay is playing really well, really good baseball, and I mean it's still good to see that we got the best farm system in the league and all those guys that are waiting to come up. I'm excited, man. If there's a year that they're going to win the World Series after last year, I think this is the year to do it. So.
The Boston Red Sox got hammered today, 18-5.
Yeah,
that's a Toronto Blue Jays.
The score, dude.
My Brooklyn Nets lost today too. The series is tied 2-2.
Yeah,
freaking Kyrie looks like I didn't get the full news report. Looks like he may have sprained his foot. He came down and tweaked his ankle and was out for the rest of the game. So now we're not only down Harden, who should be returning soon.
When is the next game for that series?
I want to say Tuesday,
take a day off,
at least Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, coming back to Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully it's Wednesday to get that extra day in. But the Nets are starting to get a little banged up here. I'm a little concerned.
It's a little interesting now. I think we talked about it last show. Like, it would take a miracle for a team to beat Brooklyn 4 times out of 7, and it just so happened that without Harden and now without Kyrie, hopefully they'll be back, for Game 5. But Milwaukee's making it a series, 2-2 now, so it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, let's talk about Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is absolutely destroying MVP Jokic and the Nuggets, and it looks like the Jazz are going to move on. So I mean, who would have thought it? It looks like we're going to have a Phoenix Suns and Jazz Western Conference Finals. One of those teams is going to make it to NBA Finals. I don't know if a lot of people predicted that.
No. Well, we got some stuff to talk about today. Yeah. NXT in your house just ended about 10 minutes ago in a pretty interesting way, which we'll get to a little bit later. But in my opinion, not one of the best NXT takeover shows.
Yeah.
This, I guess you could describe this as like a one-match show here. The main event is the match that delivered more than any other match.
Yeah.
We could talk about the ladder match. That's the one match I did not see. I obviously know the result. But let's jump right into it. The winner-take-all match opened up the card tonight for NXT, and we had El Legado del Fantasma versus MSK and Bronson Reed in a 6-man. MSK and Bronson Reed are the champions, and if one of those guys got pinned by a member of Phantasma,
Yeah.
then they would all lose the titles. How did you like this match, man?
I'll go on your comment and then I'll go into that real quick. But you talk about the fact that I don't know if this wasn't one of the better takeovers. I just feel like it's so hard for WWE or NXT in this sense to kind of match themselves. I feel like every takeover is really been just phenomenal. And this match or this pay-per-view seemed to have a lot of good matches, and this was definitely one of them. It just never seemed like a lot of the matches were outstanding in a sense. Like it never seemed like there was something that you would like picture, like remember from this card. I think a lot of people talked about that 5-way, and we'll get into that. Obviously, it's the main event as the match that could steal the show, and it did. But I like this match. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed. Obviously, Santos Escobar is a future star for NXT. I think he can be a big challenger to the North American title. I think Isaiah Swerve Scott might be the next challenger just because of how hot Hit Row is. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with this one. MSK is fantastic in the ring. I love their gimmick. Not their gimmick, I'm sorry. I love their style in the ring. They are really fluid in the ring, and they really just seem to hit every move perfectly. I can compare them to the Young Bucks. And I know that's not a fair comparison. Obviously, AEW and NXT are different, but they're just always seem to put on a really good match and something that I look forward to. Them coming from Impact Wrestling, winning the Dusty Classic, and then the NXT titles. But yeah, man, I had no problems with this one. I think it was a good opener. I kind of wish I could have seen Legado del Fantasma win the titles there, just because I think it would have been a nice change of pace. And at a point,
would have been a little too soon, though.
A little too soon. But I think at a point, like you have to see them win the tag team titles at some point. I feel like
it's going to happen.
I think
maybe
they've
by
been,
SummerSlam.
Yeah, we know that there's going to have a from the reports. It seems like there's going to be a show. I think SummerSlam's on Saturday. And the report is that there will be a show, an NXT show, the next day on that Sunday. So if they have a match, either they just announced Great American Bash for July 6th, they have a match there, or if it's SummerSlam weekend, I think it's time to put the titles on them. I think MSK is good enough to handle themselves without the titles. But yeah, man, I like this match. I think it was a really good opener to start the show.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell El Legado del Fantasma is coming into their own. Each of those members is slowly coming into their own. Mendoza tore it up tonight.
Yeah.
Even when Bronson Reed was no-selling for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Mendoza was tearing it up tonight. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Santos Escobar and Joaquin Wilde, yeah.
Oh, the spot that Bronson Reed took. The spot that Santos Escobar took with Bronson Reed plowing him through the
glass.
Fence
Yeah,
the glass.
That was great.
At ringside. That was a great visual. That was that basically knocked him out for the rest of the match. And then Wilde was knocked out. And then we see Bronson Reed win the match with the tsunami onto Mendoza. 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed retains everybody's titles for himself and MSK. Great match to start the show. I'm not too sure if you needed to do a little bit of a convoluted gimmick with the titles on the line for everybody in one match. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think
I just didn't think that, the MSK just won their titles. Bronson Reed just won his title.
Yeah,
I didn't see either one of them losing it.
Yeah, I think I remember reading, and maybe it was, I forget where I read it from, but this was kind of one of the more predictable shows in NXT TakeOver history. I don't really think that anybody expected any major surprises, and this was one of them. It's just hard to, like you said, I mean, they both just won the titles. We just saw MSK win. Like I said, they won the Dusty Cup. They just won the titles after that. Bronson Reed just won that title. They're just not really a meaning to change that quickly. You don't want to have your guys be transitional champions. And I mean, yeah, El Legado del Fantasma is really good, but on a show like that, when you're opening the show, and I don't know, it didn't really seem like this show had a lot of suspense going into it. I even think the main event, we kind of knew who was going to win. I know we didn't do a prediction show, but I'm pretty sure we would have had the same, picks mostly throughout the show. I only think there was really one match that could have been, any different, and that was that ladder match. But yeah, man, I didn't have a problem with this one. I kind of wish this one would have maybe been second in the show. I think the Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez match could have started. I think that would have been a better start, just because I don't know a lot about Xia Li. I know they wrestled, like they said, they talked about it in the match. They wrestled Mae Young Classic, I want to say 4 years ago. But yeah, this was good, man. I really enjoyed it. The action was quick. Bronson Reed looks good. Like, he looks really good. I love him doing the Samoan drop. I mean, he takes some good shots. But yeah, man, this is I'm interested to see where this goes, because I feel like if you don't put the title on Santos Escobar, the North American title, that way, it's got to go to Isaiah Scott. I feel like Hit Row has done really well on NXT TV recently, and it'll be interesting to see what they do here at the North American Championship. I mean, like I just said, we got Great American Bash coming up July 6th, so it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
I don't see any of those guys losing any titles soon at all. I mean, they're about each of them are about 2 months in. Mm-hmm. I don't see either of those titles changing until at least the summertime. Great American Bash might be a little soon, but we'll have to see. And it depends if they want to call people up too as well.
Yeah. I just feel like with that show, there's got to be something that changes. I don't think it'll be the NXT title, but I feel like there'll be something on that show, just because they know that they're going up. I think that week or the week after is when AEW starts going on tour in Jacksonville or wherever they're going for
the same week.
Yeah, for fans, having fans back in a full capacity. So I think they'll try to do something special. I feel like WWE, as much as they want to admit that they're not in competition, they know that they are. So they'll try to do something.
Xia Li with her first NXT TakeOver victory, getting a victory over Martinez. Mei Ying has risen.
Yeah,
first time we see her out of her chair. She's like 1,000 years old.
I was very confused.
We see Martinez lay out Boa. We see her lay out Xia Li with the chair, and then confronts Mei Ying on the ramp halfway towards the entranceway, and we think Martinez is going to attack Mei Ying, but Mei Ying catches Martinez by the throat and handles her by pushing her into off the ramp and into the fencing. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there. I will tell you though, the fans were not into it. Yeah. They were not into it. Did you notice that the backstage they piped in crowd noise for that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I went outside to go grab a beer, and it just seemed like I came back and the match was over, and I was like, wait,
8 minutes long.
What happened? Like it just seemed like it kind of just ended prematurely, and the whole like the choke thing. I don't know about that. Like, that's just a kind of a weak finisher, and it looked bad. Like, she put it on the first time, and I was like, okay, that's cool, I guess. And then she did it again, like, and Mercedes Martinez just kind of sold it, like, pretty poorly. And then she just gets thrown into the cage wall or whatever they want to call it in the Capitol Wrestling Center. It's fine. This match wasn't terrible. I feel like it would have done better in the first spot, just because, again, going back to that last match, we already know that that's going to be a good match. I think this was the only match on the card that was kind of unprepped in a sense. Like there didn't have any heat behind it. There was nothing really that a lot of the casual fans would have cared about. And it was fine. I didn't have a problem with the match. It's just I didn't really care.
It was just there.
That's a great way to put it. It was just there. And that's not a knock. I love Mercedes Martinez. I'm a big fan of her. Xia Li has obviously done really well in the recent months, and now she's finally getting that first takeover win. But this match was just there. They tried to build the story off of the Mae Young Classic from 4 years ago, and to my knowledge, most people did not watch that. It's kind of like that's kind of, guessing on the fact that, so many people of your audience watched that, and I know a lot of people didn't, myself included. I didn't watch it.
It was great. The Mae Young Classics were great.
I've seen like some of the matches. I've seen the finals, but to watch the whole tournament, I didn't do that. And
it was a great tournament. You got to go back and watch.
I might have to. I actually haven't even seen the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh my goodness!
I know.
Brian, the commentary, amazing.
I watched the Kota Ibushi match because I'm a big Kota Ibushi fan. But this match was just there. I didn't have a problem with it. I think it would, like I said, I think I would have done better in the first spot. But hey man, I'm excited to see what Xia Li does in the future. I think she can be a good part of the NXT Women's Division, which again I feel like we talk about every time we talk about NXT. Their roster is absolutely stacked. It really is an understatement to say just how good that roster is, how deep they are. I mean, it just seems like there's always a new star. I mean, we're still talking about, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are tag team champs, and I feel like in the future both of them could be, women's champions. And it just seemed Dakota Kai is another example. There's a lot of people on that roster who can be really, future stars in NXT. So this match was fine. Didn't have a problem with it, but I think it could have had a better spot that would have made the women look better overall.
Moving on, the $1 Million Championship ladder match. Shawn Michaels was probably responsible for helping to book this one. But LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes, and LA Knight is your new $1 Million champion. Tommy, how did you feel about this match?
Yeah, I think you said it a little wrong there. I think it's LA Knight. I'm a big fan of LA Knight, man. Eli Drake coming from Impact Wrestling. Oh man, I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. I think you gotta give props to Cameron Grimes too. His whole money gimmick has really been working. I want to say it's been probably February that he started debuting that with the new theme song and everything.
Yeah, I wonder where Cameron Grimes is going to go character wise from here.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like he's the face now. I think he was the face versus LA Knight's heel.
Kinda, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see
what
he does.
That's why I was able to, like, in my mind, predict that LA Knight was probably going to win this match, because when have you ever seen a face win $1 million belt?
Yeah, exactly. Virgil, but I mean, Virgil is no disrespect to him, but he's working at Olive Garden for a reason.
But Steve Austin?
But he was even as a ringmaster, he was kind of heel. Yeah, exactly. And DiBiase is obviously a heel. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this match. It was slow at points, and I think when you have two guys who are more technical is the wrong word. I want to say aggressive wrestlers in the sense that they kind of go for their big moves and let the selling take place. A ladder match can be slower between those two. This isn't going to be a Shelton Benjamin versus Christian for the ECW title or anything like that. This is going to be a slow pace ladder match that I think, worked well. I love the fact that they brought back the $1 Million Championship. My hope is that they don't treat it like AEW does the FTW title. Obviously, in a sense, they're joke titles sounds like the wrong phrase, but they're not, mainline titles. It's not the Intercontinental. It's not the, TNT Championship. It's something like that. But you can make it important. You can turn this title into something that is defended on a weekly or a bi-weekly or even a pay-per-view basis, you can make it something to where, it matters. And I think LA Knight is the kind of guy who can do that. This match was good. It was slow at times, but the latter spots worked. And to see LA Knight kind of get that big win, the first big win of his
he needed a win.
Yeah, of his NXT career. It's good, man. I loved him as Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling. I know a lot of people don't watch Impact Wrestling, but man, he was so good. And being able to see him kind of have that start of his run here, I think when fans come back in a bigger capacity in the Capitol Wrestling Center, I think he's going to get a really good vibe from the fans. So I'm excited for this. But yeah, man, this was a good match. Again, nothing from this pay-per-view really stood out, compared to other takeovers like they have. But this was nothing, to shake a stick at. This was a good match. I enjoyed it. No problems with it. I'd give it like a B+.
NXT Women's Championship, we have Raquel Gonzalez defending against Ember Moon. And it was pretty funny. I had messaged you at the beginning of this match. I'm like, what if Dakota Kai turns here? Which didn't happen, but it's something I'm expecting down the road.
It's got to happen.
I think it's going to happen sometime this year where we're going to see Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez one-on-one for the NXT Championship, where maybe quite possibly Dakota Kai takes it right off her.
Maybe we can see that.
I'm calling my shot shot there. I just don't know. I can't really pinpoint when it might happen.
It's
not what I'm calling.
When you said that, I think it was almost immediately after this match they announced Great American Bash. And with the rumors that there's a show SummerSlam weekend, I think we could see the turn at Great American Bash and then that quick month turnaround, at the SummerSlam weekend, whatever that show is, if they do have a show. I think we could see Dakota Kai, get that big NXT style victory at that show over SummerSlam weekend. And I think it would be the timing. I love Raquel Gonzalez as champion, and I don't want her to seem as a transitional champion, but Dakota Kai, she deserves that title. And it seems like it's inevitable that they're gonna clash at some point. They're gonna turn on each other. So I think that could be a good time to do it, or we'll see it, later down the year. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah, so we see Dakota Kai getting involved. Shotzi removes Dakota Kai, which was a pretty good visual. You see Shotzi throw Dakota Kai into the garden plants before getting her out of the arena. Step. Yeah, that was a pretty cool visual there. We see Ember Moon DDT and Gonzalez onto the ramp.
Yeah.
But Ember Moon taking too long to get Gonzalez into the ring. Couldn't get the pinfall there. And then just moments later, about 2 minutes later, we see Gonzalez retaining her championship by winning with the one-armed powerbomb and then the pinfall followed by that.
Yeah.
Raquel Gonzalez still NXT Women's Champion. I mean, she just won her belt in April. I could see her holding her title for all these current champions won all around the same time.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. There was
March
definitely
and April, so I can't pinpoint when either one of these guys are going to really lose their titles right now.
There was definitely a regime shift, I want to say, at the same time. It seemed like everybody, MSK, just won after the Dusty Classic. Karrion Kross got the title back. Like you said, Raquel Gonzalez got the title. Even Bronson Reed is a pretty recent champion. It's tough to see, but I think it pinpoints NXT and having a really good future because there's a lot of potential matchups that we could see. I mean, even this 5-way that we saw, in the main event. I mean, there's a lot of good matchups that could come from that. But yeah, I like Raquel Gonzalez as champion. I'm a big fan of her. I honestly did not know. Do you know that she is dating? I think she's dating Braun Strowman.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that on her. I think Braun Strowman said some put out some tweet that he probably shouldn't have, but obviously he's not employed by the company anymore. And I did a little research, and yeah, I think they're dating, interestingly enough. But man, Raquel Gonzalez is good. She's a really good champion. I think her moves are solid. She's kind of that China-esque in the fact that she could, I feel like, could work with anybody on the NXT roster, men included. And I have no problem with that. I think she did a great match here with Ember Moon. Ember Moon is a veteran of the NXT brand. And we saw that here. She hit a really good Eclipse kind of. I think she hit a modified Eclipse and then she hit another one a couple minutes later. But yeah, man, this was a really good match. I had no problems with it. You mentioned the Shotzi Blackheart, that's her name, throwing Dakota Kai into the set. I gotta give props to WWE. I love the In Your House set. Obviously, you would have known more about
we gotta talk about that for a second. Did you see, like, if you look at the front door, they had like the little Ring doorbell?
Yeah, they had the doorbell cam. I love that.
They didn't even use it. They should have used it. Like, there
I think they had one camera shot, or maybe like one or two. I think there might have been one like in the middle of this match and maybe in the main event, but they did use it just for a second.
Yeah, it would have been perfect for the next match we'll talk about.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, the set was it's such a throwback.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know it. Like, I got the I don't know if you've seen it, the Best of In Your House DVD. I got it back there on Blu-ray. It's one of my favorites because I never, like I said, or as you could probably tell, I wasn't alive when In Your House was a main thing, and being able to see those pay-per-views and see those matches, and I mean, bringing back Todd Pettengill and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The segments with him were absolutely great. I love it. The whole 90s throwback thing.
Did you see with it was Todd Pettengill against Dexter
Lumis? Yes.
In the Karate Fighters. That's a throwback from like Survivor Series 95, maybe even like going back further, 94, definitely 95, and that 96 era. Like for like a good year or two, Karate Fighters was like a big sponsor of WWE. So you'd see Karate Fighters all the time.
Yeah, I've seen their
almost
logo.
To the point where you had wrestlers every single week on Raw and Superstars competing in a tournament, playing with Karate Fighters. The Karate Fighters.
Yeah,
they have these little tournaments. It's funny.
I've seen like the old pay-per-views, and like you'll see the ads for like Stride X or some
Stride X like SummerSlam '95 for sure.
Exactly. It's like I've seen the Karate Fighters, and I was like, it's such a good throwback. Like at sometimes like WWE actually like knows how to connect with their audiences. Very minimal the past few years, but I really enjoyed the whole throwback of this show. The set was great. I obviously know they brought it back last year, but having Todd Pettengill come back and just using the set in a sense with the Dakota Kai Shotzi Blackheart part was just a nice little touch. I really enjoyed the throwback aspect of this show.
Let me tell you, In Your House had some classic matches. I mean, we had some barn burners with Shawn Michaels versus British Bulldog.
Mankind from
Taker,
Mind Games?
Shawn Michaels and Mankind. Yeah,
from Mind Games.
Yeah. You had the Canadian Stampede.
That's one of my favorites.
Steve Austin and I think Legion of Doom was in there against the Hart Foundation.
I actually own that.
Shawn versus Owen, leading into WrestleMania 12. That build.
That's the Canadian Stampede is the only one I own on VHS. It's the only wrestling pay-per-view I own on VHS. It's such a good show.
You have
your Revenge of the Taker. I want to say A Cold Day in Hell was pretty good, if I remember. So obviously, like you would know more, but from me, seeing it from in the past and looking at some of the major matches that have happened in Your House. I mean, even the wasn't The first Hell in a Cell with Shawn and Taker was at it In Your House.
I
Bad
believe
Blood.
so.
In Your House, Bad Blood. I want to say was that one. But yeah, I mean, Taker or Shawn and Mankind at Mind Games. That's one of my favorite matches of all time. I mean, it's such a great match.
Oh, absolutely. In Your House produced some big time classics over the years for sure.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Pick up that the Best of In Your House DVD. It's definitely one of the better ones in my collection.
I wonder if that's on the Peacock network.
I don't think it is.
Interesting. They're gonna be adding more content to the network. Over the summertime.
I don't know if they'll add like the DVD stuff. Like I feel like that's something like they'll have the documentaries and stuff. But that's one of the things that I love is collecting the Blu-rays and stuff and being able to have that just a little extra stuff, the special features or whatever. It's nice to have. But yeah, the Best of In Your House is definitely one of the I'd say it's top 3 in my collection.
We're going to be coming in for landing shortly, but we had the main event, the Fatal 5-Way for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross defending against O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. Great match here. A couple cool visuals. Like what they should have done, which they didn't do, at least at this moment, when I think it was Gargano and Pete Dunne threw Karrion Kross through the front door, or of the In Your House set.
Yeah,
you see him crashing through. That would have been like the best visual right there
for that ring shot.
That super wide angle ring shot to see Karrion Kross come flying through. That would have been really cool. They should have took advantage of that. They did not at that moment.
Come on, Kevin Dunn.
Oh man, the little details can but
they did good, but it's still something that WWE can improve on. It's the little things that I think that they could really, like you said, could really improve the quality of the show.
Karrion Kross was sleeping a couple times. He was sleeping in that.
He was snapping on the
5
outside.
to 10 minutes, and then
he was waiting for his spot.
Yeah, he was sleeping a couple times. So that was the best parts of the matches. Honestly, was when Karrion Kross was away, recuperating from the door. No, listen, he had a good showing. Don't get me wrong, but four of those guys, Adam Cole, O'Reilly, Gargano, and Dunn, they know each other so well, spot after spot. Great match. Fantastic showing tonight by the four of those guys.
This match, I think we talked about it, in our last show. Obviously, we didn't do a previous show, but this match had the potential to be a match of the year candidate. I don't think it reached that point, but it was very good. It was a very, very good main event. But
it saved the show, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It sucks because I love Karrion Kross. I'm a big fan of his. But like you said, the best parts of the match were the ones where he wasn't in it. And that sucks for him as a champion because I know he's good. And I know that his championship run could be a lot better. But, I mean, you put Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, I mean, their rivalry speaks for itself. They were beating the hell out of each other.
And Gargano and Adam Cole both know each other so well.
Exactly. And Pete Dunne is no slouch either. Obviously, we know how good he is. And those four, like you said, man, it's tough. I liked Kross in this match, but I honestly would have been more okay.
I liked Kross winning this match too. I was very, very suspect though, and they still we just hear rumors of possibilities of people getting called up from NXT. Probably
especially with SummerSlam. I mean, you gotta get the eyes
coming. Who the heck is going to face Lesnar? I honestly don't. I mean, I'm sorry, Keith.
Bobby Lashley.
I heard one thing that it could be Lesnar. Lesnar was added to the Raw roster, and then I'm hearing different things.
It seems like the only match that's really set in stone for SummerSlam is Reigns versus Cena. Reigns.
Because they need to draw 70,000 in that Las Vegas Raiders stadium.
I really did enjoy this match, but right when they announced the Great American Bash, I think it was right before the main event. honestly thought to myself, man, this would be so much better if Karrion Kross was left off this show and they had a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match. And the winner would face him at that show on Tuesday NXT. Because you get the eyes because it's the NXT championship match. It's the biggest championship in the brand. You get that on a TV show on a Tuesday night, which is a tough night to even get viewers in a sense. And I mean, the 4 of them would obviously turn the house down like they did, or tear the house down like they did in the few moments that Kross wasn't there. This wasn't a bad match at all. It was absolutely great. Like you said, it kind of saved the show. It sucks because I love Karrion Kross so much, and I know that his reign could be so much better. But he really just seemed like a non-factor in this match. I'll give credit to Kyle O'Reilly for his selling at the end. I thought that was really good. Man, it just, now that I think about it, it just really hurts to see that Karrion Kross is, he had the injury right after he won the title first. It just seems like his title run now has been kind of flat in a sense. It just hasn't really resonated as much as guys like Gargano or Finn Balor or Samoa Joe or even guys like Neville, back in the early days. Their title reign seemed to have time. Yeah, it does need time.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Neville held that title for a year.
Yeah.
For a while.
In a 5-way match, like that's the kind of way to show out. I feel like that's the kind, and this match had a lot riding on it. I think, like I said, a lot of people thought this could be a match of the year contender just because of the talent involved. And this was good. It was really good. But I don't know if it lived up to that hype. And I think part of that is just because of the way
it had its good moments.
The booking of Kross's, title reign so far. It just, like you said, you put it the best way. The best moments were when he was on the outside. And that sucks.
Well, Kross is the champion, retaining. We see O'Reilly nearly taking out Cole with the knee bar. And then that was a cool little visual with Kross then coming up from behind as O'Reilly's applying the knee bar.
Great selling. Great selling.
With O'Reilly being choked out by Karrion Kross. Adam Cole couldn't get back because he was just having his knee mangled up by O'Reilly. So Kross gets the win. I mean, great presentation by Kross as always.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love him.
His title reign needs, more cooking, so to speak. It's got to, it's new. Everything's just all new. He's only had the belt for 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. With Regal's announcement at the end.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, Regal kind of comes out at the end. I feel like a lot of people expecting, myself included, the show would just end. You see the little graphic. We get a backstage segment. I forget her name, but she asked Regal. Yes, the girl. She asked Regal, like, what do you think of NXT? And he says there's just a lot of pandemonium. It's time for a change. And then we get that graphic as he's walking away outside. This is big. I'm honestly, not that I don't watch NXT, but I'm interested. I'm ready to tune in on Tuesday. Like I'm intrigued on what's going to happen.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Regal calls it quits and they bring him up to go to like the main roster? But like, who replaces him? Like, if you're gonna pull something off this big, and again, we have to remember that it's next month is huge for the entire wrestling business. It's huge. I mean, everything's going back in a few short weeks to normal in a sense. Like, we're getting fans on the road. We're getting shows in front of full crowds. Like, there's going to be a lot of major stuff happening in the wrestling world because both shows are going to try to compete with each other. And I think that's great. I'm super, super excited. I honestly, as much as we shit on Raw, like, I probably will watch Raw for the first couple of weeks just to see what they do. I'm intrigued on what they do, but
I don't know, man. Like this is really a head scratcher. I know there's just been some reports of Samoa Joe.
You think he's gonna bring people in?
I could see that. There's been reports of Samoa Joe being at the Performance Center here recently, and maybe he could, show up on Tuesday. This is good. This is the way. That's a really good way. This is classic late '90s WWE of bringing people in, at the end of the pay-per-view and catching their attention to where they're like, I just got to see what happens on the next show. I think of King of the Ring. Was it '99, the ladder match with Austin and Shane and Vince. They bungled the way that it ended, with the whole the briefcase or whatever rising above, and the storyline kind of faltered after that. But people were interested. You get people's attention, and they want to tune in on Monday night. And I think this is the same way. Like I watch NXT. Probably I normally watch it on Wednesdays after, in the morning. But
sure.
I want to watch it live. Like I'm very actually intrigued on seeing what happens. And I've seen enough of wrestling. I know what, surprises and good and bad stuff, but this is interesting. William Regal's been an integral part of NXT. I think you said 7 years. I mean, he's been the face behind the scenes of NXT basically since it changed to this brand that we love now. And it's good, man. You got the fans interested, so I'm excited. I don't know what to say. I hope that it's Samoa Joe, making a return at some point, but I really don't know. I don't know what the plan is here.
Yeah, that right. They kind of left us hanging there. Like, what did Regal mean by something's going to change? So that
is that
remains.
Him? Is that a roster change?
Could he be creating his own stable?
I'd be cool. I wish he'd come back and wrestle. I know he's obviously too old for that, but I was always a big fan of William Regal. I was a big fan of William Regal as a kid.
In other news, Kushida will have an open challenge to his cruiserweight title this Tuesday night. So that's going to be pretty interesting if they bring in a new face.
Maybe it'll finally be Daniel Bryan, like people are predicting the first time.
That would be interesting.
That'd be big. That'd be very big.
I'd be interested. I think he wants to kind of like travel a little bit and get as many different matchups as he can before he can retire. So I don't know if he goes down there. Maybe he could, because there's a lot of people he hasn't faced down there in NXT yet.
Gosh, could you imagine if he was an NXT star though? Like if he was a full-time member of NXT.
Oh God, working with those guys and Pete Dunne and Adam Cole and
Kyle O'Reilly. You know how much I love Kyle O'Reilly. Like that's a dream match almost. Like that's
Oh, we got to get back to that in a second. But really quick, we're also going to see Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher against Grizzled Young Veterans Tuesday night, which is I don't know if they announced it as number one contender match.
I think they said. I think it's but it's a tornado match.
Probably leading that way. It is a tornado match. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably leading that way. You got to figure that the winner of this match will probably get a shot against MSK at some point.
Great. I could see that being at Great American Bash.
Yeah. Now it's going to be basically over the next couple of weeks. You got
just because you got 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, 3 solid weeks. Yeah, before Great American Bash. So this is a decent enough time to build a decent card for that night. And like you said, that week kicks off live touring for AEW.
Yeah, and then the next week is WWE. Yeah,
days after.
Yeah,
days after, like that Friday, and that
man, that's just so exciting. I feel like it's just it seems like the days go by slower and slower, but every week that we do this podcast and be able to talk about that, it just makes it even more exciting. You realize how much you miss the fans being at wrestling shows.
Oh, absolutely. So, where do we go from here? Any call-ups from NXT? Gonna go up to SummerSlam? What do you think?
Adam Cole's got to come up. I mean, like after SummerSlam, it's just no point. Like
Gargano doesn't want to go up. Ciampa, they want to stay down.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But like Adam Cole, who does he have to fight? I mean, his yes, they had the little mix up with O'Reilly here in this match tonight, but they're not going to keep doing that program. And I feel like he's got this will sound stupid, but he's got a program in a sense on the back burner with Pat McAfee. And I feel like that's a kind of another match you could do at Survivor Series, just because you want to get the most eyes on your product as possible. And a lot of people have been talking about on the dirt sheets that Survivor Series they're going to try and make Survivor Series a really big, important event this year. I've heard, rumors of The Rock being there and all that. I think this could be one of those type matches that is just brings in the fans.
Survivor Series has been absolutely meaningless the last couple of years. I mean, the NXT one when NXT was thrown in there. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But other than that, Survivor Series has not been good. There's no incentive to watch.
They need to make it big this year.
I honestly don't care about red versus blue.
I 100% agree with you.
Maybe if you want to toss in NXT, do red versus blue versus yellow,
that's why 2019 was so successful, or 18 or 19, whichever one it was. It's because
there's got to be title matches. Yeah, at Survivor Series, got to be title matches. Got to be an angle that launches into Rumble and WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, even going back to that Survivor Series with NXT involved. I mean, look at that. The 5-on-5 between all three brands. That pop that Keith Lee got when he almost beat Reigns with the pop-up powerbomb was I absolutely amazing. I mean, people were so over for him.
Look at Keith Lee now.
He's not even on TV.
I don't even know if and when he's ever even coming back.
He's even going to be at WWE anymore. I mean, with the cuts that have been recent, I mean, he could be cut, which sucks, but
yeah, Raw shouldn't be cutting anybody, right? Keith Lee, don't get me started on Raw, but
but with Cole, I think that he is just there's really not a story for him in NXT, and I think that you could put him on a show like SmackDown, and he could be. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be against it. Him having his first major feud. I know a lot of people wouldn't like this, but him versus McAfee, wouldn't be a bad attraction match on a main roster sense. Get him another win over McAfee, and McAfee's obviously a commentator, but he's a braggadocious part of SmackDown, and then you let him move on to bigger and better things on SmackDown. If of anybody, I'd say he's the most likely to move up. Maybe I'd say Ember Moon, but she just went back down to NXT.
Yeah, I think she's
I don't think she's gonna come up. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's crazy because again, we talk about just how bad WWE uses their talent, and you look at NXT. It's kind of like when you're talking about the Rays earlier. It's like the amount of talent that the Rays have, and the amount of talent they have in AAA. It's like WWE has a lot of good talent on Raw and SmackDown, and they're deep on NXT. They just don't know how to use them. It's incredible. So it'll be interesting. But of all people to be called up, I really do think the time is now for Adam Cole. I don't want him to flounder, and that sounds stupid, but that NXT title picture is getting a little muddied with Cross. O'Reilly, Dunn, Balor's still there. I think Samoa Joe's gonna come back. Who else am I missing? Who else was in the match tonight?
Gargano.
Gargano's still gonna be a big spot. Dexter Lumis, I think, will be making his move at some point. Cole can fit. Don't get me wrong. Cole would be a great part of that, but I think he could he can make it work on the main roster.
What do you think of their new theme musics? I'm not a fan. Cole, Dunn, O'Reilly all got new music. I'm not really a fan. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like they try to change up the music too quickly.
I'm surprised Adam Cole didn't keep his theme song with the Undisputed Era theme song.
Yeah, that was a banger. I heard that in a bar one time, and I was like, I know what this song is. This is a good song.
O'Reilly and Adam Cole should have had like a fight for the rights to the theme song.
Yeah, like Edge and Booker T had the fight for like the Japanese shampoo or something. Make them fight for the for this song. Nah, WWE changes theme songs too quickly, man.
Another rumor that we've been hearing was the possibility of Cross could eventually come up. So if that's the case, big if, I would expect him to maybe lose it at Bash, Great American Bash.
I don't know if he loses at Bash just because it's a TV show.
To give time for him to build to whatever program that he might go into for SummerSlam. If they're bringing it up.
I don't know if he'd be up on SummerSlam.
Well, remember what happened last year? Keith Lee won a title right on Great American Bash.
That's very true. That's very true. That's tough.
I still feel it's all kind of too soon because he's only had it for a couple months. But you don't know what WWE. Raw needs a major refresh right now. They need to reboot the whole roster. They need to rebrand. They need to get that 2020, 2021 stink off of that show.
They need a new roster. They need a new logo. They need
change it all.
A new theme song. They need a new entrance. They need a new, intro. They need a new set design. They need everything. I'm
supposedly hearing that there's new designs and a new set in place for both Raw and SmackDown, and I think that's probably going to start in July. I would think.
Yeah, and that'll be good. Again, it's a fresh take. You got to get the people. Again, it's casual wrestling fans will watch your show whenever. I feel like that's just kind of a thing. But most people, when they hear, fans are coming back, y'all tune in. Maybe it's something. You'll get a bump in viewership. You got to do something different. Like you have to capitalize. I understand Vince wants to keep his old ways, but if there is a time, as much as they don't want to admit AEW isn't competition, it is competition. Like they might not be catching you right now, but with Rampage coming out, I want to say was like August 13th, Friday the 13th.
AEW just popped a 1.7 million rating, which I think beat out a couple of the shows that week.
AEW is ready, man. They're coming here, and you gotta you really WWE. I implore them because I want them to be good. Like they have the talent to be so good. They have to show up after SummerSlam or around SummerSlam.
David Smith with the comment, Karrion Kross is overrated. I wouldn't go that far. He's got a great presentation. He can work his wrestling.
David, I might have to unfollow you on Twitter.
His skill set matches his gimmick and everything. And his ability, so that's why we were saying before, like his ability. Well, and he's also like the fifth wheel in the match. If you really think about it, even though he's a champion,
he was the
those other
worst
four
one
guys just work the best together.
Yeah, he was the worst. He was the worst one. And it wasn't even this match that told me that. To begin with, of the five, he was the worst one in this match, and that sucks for a champion because he is good. He is a good champion.
And listen, he's got a good presentation to him. He looks great with the belt.
Scarlett, I love Scarlett.
Listen, we still have yet to see more out of Karrion Kross. He just got that title recently, so we'll see what he can do with it as the next few weeks go by. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be call-ups, coming up soon, I would think, because again, Raw roster is hurting. SmackDown. We're
getting Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns in Hell in a Cell.
Listen,
they could have done Jimmy or Jay.
It's going to be good, but we know who's going to win.
Yeah,
out of that.
They on it. Who was it, Jay who fought Roman at Night of Champions or anything like or something like that, or was it Jimmy?
Jay,
Okay.
Jimmy
You
interfered while he was still injured.
You could have done Jimmy versus Roman at Hell in a Cell, and I would have been totally okay. Like, I understand the story with Ray, but like, I would bet every dollar that I've ever owned and will own that Roman Reigns walks out of Hell in a Cell.
They're still trying to tell the story with Jimmy and Jay. And and what's going to happen is the three of them are going to be like Shield 2.0 pretty much.
There's just no suspense in this match. And Raw and SmackDown need that suspense.
Absolutely. Well, that pretty much wraps up the Aftermath. We will definitely be back with the Aftermath immediately following Hell in a Cell next Sunday. Might come with you guys, come at you guys with episode 66 of the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. If not before Hell in a Cell, definitely the week after. There's a lot of shows, lots to cover. So
especially with AEW, there's a lot coming up with all those special shows that they announced on Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean they literally have a themed show every single
for 4 weeks in a row. What is it?
I am tempted to go to that Charlotte show. That lands on my vacation.
Oh yeah, really? Okay, yeah.
I am tempted to go to that show.
What is it? It's the I forget what the first one's called. Then
well, there's gonna be Fight for the Fallen, Fight Fest.
Fight for the Fallen is 2 weeks in a row.
Bash at the Beach.
Yeah. The first one was like an interesting name. It wasn't like something.
It's in Miami.
Yeah,
I forgot the name of it though.
Let me look it up. I'll look it up while you talk it out.
So yes, this is gonna be four special theme songs in July, all with fans. Raw and SmackDown. Bring back fans next week, so it's gonna be good. A lot to cover, and then not to mention
Road Rager.
Okay.
Road Rager, then Fighter Fest, and then Fight for the Fallen. 4 weeks straight. I mean, like that's a lot, man.
Money in the Bank in July.
Exactly.
Next
then
month.
SummerSlam, literally 2 weeks after the Charlotte show. We're gonna be busy, man. There's a couple pay-per-views coming here, and there's some good, maybe not pay-per-views, but some high quality shows coming up here.
Absolutely. So to all you guys that are watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get these post shows of the Aftermath, the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast episodes weekly. Make sure you are sharing with your friends.
For sure.
And that's all I got. Tommy, you got anything before we close it out,
man. It is good to see you, man. It's good to have another episode. It seems like it's been a while, but hopefully we'll be back for what'd you say, episode 66. It seems like
soon.
Yeah, man. We're rolling. Next week got Hell in a Cell. We're getting into the thick of things, man. It's exciting. I've said this a lot here, even since April. It's exciting to be a wrestling fan. It's finally time to get back to being enjoying what we love as wrestling fans.
Especially next month, there will be a lot to
for
cover.
sure. So much fun.
We get to SummerSlam, there's going to be a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to it. This will be our second Money in the Bank, our second SummerSlam season that we're covering. Can't wait. We'll see what we got going on then. But in the meantime, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we will see you guys soon. Catch you guys later.